Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in today's video I am finally revealing my 53-man roster predictions for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I literally spent 2 weeks trying to formulate this list, and you know, I've finally done it. Shout out to all the people I asked for advice and their opinions on stuff, especially shout out to Cody on Twitter. He's a saint. And yeah guys, in today's video I'm finally going to reveal my 53-man roster predictions. So without further ado guys, let's talk about it. As you guys can see here on the screen, I have the Buccaneers depth chart up, and I'm going to be going through the offense first, then the defense, then special teams. Really, special teams is going to take like 30 seconds. But let's go to the offense first, guys. And obviously, the first position that I want to address is the quarterback position. I have the Buccaneers carrying 3 quarterbacks going into this season, and it is obviously Jameis Winston, Blaine Gabbert, Ryan Griffin. Those guys have always been the guys. I've seen some rumblings of, well, the Buccaneers might carry 2 quarterbacks, and we don't know. Listen, they're going to carry 3 quarterbacks. Jameis Winston's the guy. Bruce Arians loves Blaine Gabbert, and Ryan Griffin has been impressing the hell out of Bruce Arians during this preseason and training camp. You know, Ryan Griffin has looked like his usual amazing self, especially with this injury to Blaine Gabbert with his shoulder being dislocated. Does not sound fun, by the way. I really think that this solidifies Ryan Griffin's spot on this roster. Buccaneers carrying 3 running backs. It's a good time. Next up, we have the running back position, and I again have the Buccaneers carrying only 3 running backs, and they are these running backs: Peyton Barber, Ronald Jones, and Dare Ogunbowale. That's right, Andre Ellington is not on this opening day roster, which probably doesn't surprise a whole heck of a lot of people. Well, first off, I just don't have room for him on this roster. You guys will see what I mean later. But secondly, I know that a lot of people have said, well, Andre Ellington, he's a good receiving back, and yes, I will give him fair credit. He is a good receiving back, but with how much we've been seeing guys like Peyton Barber, Ronald Jones, and Ogunbowale be used in the passing game as well as Andre Ellington, it's been a very even split, I guess you could say, in terms of receiving back duties. I think that just pushes Andre Ellington off the roster because of the fact that Peyton Barber, Ronald Jones, and Dare Ogunbowale, not only have they looked more impressive as pure runners and as pass blockers, they've definitely looked leagues better than Andre Ellington as pass blockers. They've also been used in the receiving game as well, which really takes away a lot of the value of having a guy like Andre Ellington on the roster if other people can do one of his main jobs. So for that reason, Andre Ellington's out. Peyton Barber, Ronald Jones, Dare Ogunbowale, 3 Buccaneers running backs are in. Next, we have wide receiver, and this was the first really difficult decision that I had to come to. You guys will see what I mean in a minute here. I have the Buccaneers carrying 5 wide receivers. That should be a dead giveaway. And it's Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Brashad Perriman, Justin Watson, and Scotty Miller. What? What the fuck? That's it. That is it. And I know the first thing people are going to say is, James, where's Spencer Snell? Where's Snelly? And, God, I would love to put Snelly on this roster. I would love to. And I know the second thing that people are saying is, James, where's Bobo Wilson? And those are the 2 big things, is where are those guys, James? And let me get through Snelly first, okay? I love Snelly. I absolutely love Snelly. I think he's going to be a practice squad guy, and I think that they're going to call him up and give him an important role if they need to. That's just what I think is going to happen. Will he end up on another roster? God, I hope not, but I think that it is definitely a possibility. I think they're going to try and stash him on the practice squad. Second thing, Bobo Wilson. Why don't I have Bobo Wilson over a guy like Scotty Miller or even Justin Watson possibly? Here's my reasoning, okay? Bobo Wilson, according to Bruce Arians, is at a hell of a camp, and I believe him. Obviously, I'm not an expert here. I'm not a head coach in the NFL. I'm just a fan, you know, all things considered. But in my opinion, Bobo Wilson has just been a little bit too inconsistent, and he has a couple of things that are going against him when it comes to trying to make this roster on the wide receiver core. First thing is this. Bruce Arians has almost all but alluded to the fact that the Buccaneers are going to carry 5 wide receivers only on this team. Why do I say that? Because whenever he talked about all the guys battling for a wide receiver spot, guys like Scotty Miller, who was just mentioned, Anthony Johnson, Bobo Wilson, Snelly, and among the other guys, he said that they were all battling for that 5th wide receiver spot. If he felt that he was going to carry 6 wide receivers, he would have said that they would have been battling for the 5th and 6th wide receiver spots. I know it's not a dead giveaway or anything like that, but I do think it is something to heavily consider. The second thing I want to talk about right now is the depth that the Buccaneers have the wide receiver core. You have Mike Evans, Wilkins and Chris Godwin, 2 All-Stars. You have Brashad Perriman, who they just brought in as a high-tier free agent signing this offseason. You also have Justin Watson and Scotty Miller, who are former draft picks in the last 2 drafts that the Buccaneers have had. I think that you take all those things in consideration, it just pushes Bobo Wilson off the roster. Now, could Bobo Wilson come back eventually this season? Yes, I believe so 100%. Bruce Arians loves him, and I think he could potentially be back, or he might even actually get in over a guy like Scotty Miller. But for my money's worth right now, and for my guess, I have Scotty Miller coming in over Bobo Wilson. And Bobo Wilson might come back if he doesn't sign with another team after the cuts and whatnot, although that could be a possibility, so I don't know. Next, we move on to the tight end position. I have the Buccaneers carrying 4 tight ends. Oh yeah, you can see where I'm going with this one. And the tight ends are as follows: O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, Anthony Auclair, and hey, oh my god, it's Tanner Hudson. Who would have guessed that I, of all people, would have Tanner Hudson making my final 53-man roster? Let me explain why I have this the way I have this. Obviously, O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate, they're your top 2 guys. They're not going anywhere. I've seen some people say we should trade Cameron Brate. I really don't think that we should do that because Bruce Arians loves to run 2 tight end sets. And I know you could make the argument of, well, Tanner Hudson's really good as well, but I think that it's just that much better having all 3 of those guys on the same team. Yes, you could get something for Cameron Brate, but I really just like where the Buccaneers are right now in terms of their offensive weapons. It's going to help out Jameis a lot, and I think we're all going to be grateful to have Cameron Brate on this roster. But obviously, Anthony Auclair, everybody's been saying, well, James, he's one of the best blockers we have at the tight end position, and he's going to stay. And yes, I will say that Anthony Auclair is a very good blocker, and he can provide something very, very good for this tight end group. You know, his blocking ability is very much up there, so he adds a little bit more to the offense with his blocking ability. Here's why I think that Tanner Hudson's going to make this roster. First off, he's proved himself. Obviously, this preseason and training camp, he's been lights out. I've been a Tanner Hudson guy for a little bit now, and I'm loving Tanner Hudson. Every single time I see him play, be it at the training camp days or in preseason, I'm loving Tanner Hudson, okay? He's catching every single pass that is thrown his way almost. The guy's looked phenomenal. Bruce Arians, he's been a little bit, not as much praising him as I think he should be, but I think that's just tough love. I'll give Tanner Hudson, this is what Bruce is thinking. He's thinking, okay, I know the kid's doing good, but I don't want to go out and flat out say it because, I just don't want to do that, to discourage the other players. But, Tanner Hudson, I think he's doing a phenomenal job. I think he is impressing Bruce Arians to a very high amount. And I think that you need another receiving threat behind Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard. Why? Because last year, both Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard suffered injuries that put them out for certain portions of the year. Maybe not so much in the case of Cameron Brate in a way, but it certainly significantly impacted how well he was playing. The guy played injured literally the entire year last year with a hip injury. And then obviously in the case of O.J. Howard, he missed a decent portion of the season last year with his own injury. So I think that you need a guy like Tanner Hudson. If one of those guys goes down, you can just plug Hudson in right away and have just have another good receiving tight end. It just makes too much sense to me. I have the Buccaneers carrying 4 tight ends: Hudson, Auclair, O.J. Howard, and Cameron Brate, and that's just the way I see it, baby. Next up, we have the offensive line, and it goes as follows. 0. I have the current Buccaneers offensive line carrying 0 people besides Ali Marpet. So Ali Marpet makes this roster. Everybody else, cut them. They're awful. Who cares, am I right? No, but really, I have the Buccaneers carrying 9 offensive linemen. Obviously, Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, Alex Kappa, DeMar Dotson. Those 5 make it in. In terms of the backups right now, this one was a lot more trickier. I have them carrying Zach Bailey, Josh Laribius, Earl Watford, Caleb Benenoch, and I believe that's it? No, sorry. Get rid of Laribius and replace him with Trewin. So you have Zach Bailey, Nate Trewin, Earl Watford, and Caleb Benenoch. Those are the current backups that I have in right now. I know what people are asking, like, James, why not Cole Boozer? Why aren't you putting in Cole Boozer? I know, the guy's like one of the best backup tackles in the league right now, but you know what? I just feel like Cole Boozer is too good for this team, okay? Cole Boozer is too good for this roster, okay? I swear to you that Cole Boozer is going to end up being one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. I'm not being sarcastic at all, okay? You're being sarcastic if you're saying that Cole Boozer is bad, because he's not. He's one of the best, okay? No, but obviously, this was a little bit of a tougher decision to make for the backup offensive linemen. Guys like Zach Bailey, Nate Trewin. Those two, honestly, might not be on this final 53-man roster. And also, they could even carry as many as 10 offensive linemen. I fully expect the Buccaneers to raid the waiver wires in terms of backup offensive linemen, because Lord knows we need them. But overall, I think that they're probably going to bring in, 3 more backup offensive linemen, one to replace Bailey, one to replace Trewin, and one more backup left tackle, because let's be honest, it ain't Cole Bouger. But I really do think that, they could have as many as 10 offensive linemen when everything is said and done. But I think for like the initial 53-man roster that's going to be announced on Saturday, I think that they're going to have 9 offensive linemen, and it's going to be Smith, Marpet, Jensen, Kappa, Dodson, Bailey, Trewin, Watford, and Beninock. Next, we can move on to the defensive side of the ball, and again, I had another tough decision to make here, and I'll get to it when I get to it. It's actually involved right now with the Buccaneers' defensive line, both defensive end and nose tackle right now. So I have them carrying 6 defensive linemen, and it goes as follows. You have Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, William Golson, Raheem Nunez Roche, Bo Allen, Terry Beckner Jr. That's it. Jeremiah Ledbetter, I don't have him making right now. I did not, and I repeat, I did not want to cut Jeremiah Ledbetter. I really, really didn't. I almost cut William Golson for keeping Jeremiah Ledbetter, and I think that is something that could realistically happen. But here's my reasoning, okay? Ndamukong Suh is Ndamukong Suh. He's making this roster. Same with Vita Vea, and same with Bo Allen to a certain degree. Those guys have looked like 3 of our best defensive linemen so far. Then you have William Golson, who has looked pretty decent, all things considered, in the role that he is given right now with the Buccaneers defensive line. He's had one hell of a training camp positional battle, whatever have you, against Jeremiah Ledbetter. And I think that they're pretty equal, all things considered. But I'm going to give it to William Golson, because I really do think that a guy like Jeremiah Ledbetter is a very strong candidate for the Buccaneers practice squad. I think that he could very easily end up there, and I think that that's where they're going to stash him and call him up if they need to. Raheem Nunez Roche, he's been impressing everybody, literally everybody. He's impressed me, he's impressed BA, he's impressed the media, he's impressed the fans. He's done so freaking good, and I would honestly put him as the next starting defensive end next to Ndamukong Suh, next to Vita Vea. I think William Golson is going to be a backup. And then in the case of Terry Beckner Jr., Bruce Arians has been impressed with him. He has been making some plays here and there, some splash plays, and he literally was just drafted a couple months ago, so I think that that's also going to be a really strong reason for keeping him. So yeah, guys, 6 defensive linemen: Suh, Vea, Golson, Raheem Nunez Roche, Bo Allen, Terry Beckner Jr. If you guys want to get crafty with it, you can replace Golson with Ledbetter, and I literally would not blame you at all. That was definitely something that I almost did in my own list. Next, you have outside linebackers, guys, and I have the Buccaneers carrying 5 outside linebackers on this team, and it goes as follows. You have Carl Nassib, you have Noah Spence, you have Anthony Nelson, you have Shaq Barrett, and you have Jason Pierre-Paul. That's it. That's who I have the Buccaneers carrying. I don't know why Patrick O'Connor's listed as a defensive end. He's been playing outside linebacker. But I think Damone Harris, I think they're probably going to end up on the practice squad. They deserve it. They've been playing some pretty darn good football in this preseason, and even to a certain degree in training camp as well. But they've really been coming on strong in preseason. So I think that obviously these 5 guys, Nassib, Spence, Nelson, Barrett, and JPP, they all have very large stock in what this defense is going to do in terms of pass rushing abilities. Spence, Barrett, they're my boys. You guys know how much I love them. I freaking love those 2 guys, man. I swear. Nassib, I love as well. He's been doing a really good job. He can join Barrett and Spence as part of my boys, because, they're great. All 3 of them have been doing absolutely great in training camp and preseason and whatnot as well. They've been getting loads of pressure. In the case of Anthony Nelson, he has been a little bit dinged up, which does definitely affect how much playing time he's going to get to start, but he is literally a 4th-round draft pick, and he has literally the measurables, same as Carl Nassib, so he's going to stay 100%. And in the case of Jason Pierre-Paul, he is hurt, but he is going to be coming back soon. I don't think the Buccaneers are going to put him on the injured reserve. If they do, I could definitely see Patrick O'Connor or Damone Harris coming up later on in the season, but I think they aren't going to put JPP on the injured reserve yet, if at all, so I think that you have to keep a roster spot open for him. Inside linebacker. Oh man, this is a loaded position for this team. team, and guys, I couldn't help myself. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers carrying 6 interior linebackers on this team. You have Devin White, Lavonte David, Dayon Buchanan, Kevin Minter, Devontae Bond, and Jack Sitchie. Sorry, Emmanuel Smith and Corey Nelson. You guys are really sweet and all, especially Corey Nelson. I'm a big fan of Corey Nelson's, but this is just too deep of a position. And I know what you guys are going to say is, James, 6 inside linebackers? What the hell? But in the case of Dayon Buchanan, he's not going to be playing as much inside linebacker. He will be there, but I also expect him to play outside pass rushing linebacker. I also expect him to play a little bit of safety. He's going to be absolutely everywhere, so I don't think that you can label him purely as an inside linebacker, but that's why I'm putting him for this list. But I don't think that he's going to be like purely there. I think that you can purely say that, 4, maybe even 5 inside linebackers, because even for the case of a guy like Devontae Bond, I could even see him playing outside pass rushing linebacker as well. But Devin White, Dayon Buchanan, Devontae Bond, Kevin Minter, Jack Sitchie, Lavonte David. Kevin Minter, Jack Sitchie, they've been impressing Bruce Arians a ton. Kevin Minter's been impressing me a ton, so is Jack Sitchie. Kevin Minter, one half of the machines with Dayon Buchanan. Jack Sitchie coming back off of ACL surgery. He is quickly becoming one of Bruce Arians' favorites, according to the man himself, so he makes it in. So yeah, guys, 6 inside linebackers. You got David, White, Buchanan, Minter, Bond, and Sitchie. I think that this is arguably the best position group the Buccaneers have right now, and it shows by how many linebackers I have the Buccaneers keeping here. Next, you have the safety position. This one honestly wasn't that hard the more I looked at it, and I'll get into certain things in a little bit here, but I have the Buccaneers carrying 4 safeties, and I know I'm doing the safeties before the cornerbacks, just bear with me here, okay? But I have the Buccaneers carrying Mike Edwards, Jordan Whitehead, Justin Evans, and Darian Stewart. I do not have them keeping Isaiah Johnson, Kentrell Bryce, or John Battle. And I know that's pretty controversial. James, only 4 safeties, but I really just didn't have room, okay? I gotta bring in my linebackers, man. I gotta keep all my boys in line. Isaiah Johnson, phenomenal special teams player. I would love for him to be on this roster. I just don't see it. I'm sure that he will probably sign with another team. Kentrell Bryce, honestly, a little bit, not too impressive so far of a free agent signing so far up to this point. He's had his moments, but he's also had his bad moments as well, and I think that's really going to cost him, especially whenever you bring in a guy like Darian Stewart, who's been so impressive in such a short amount of time with this team. I think that pushes both Isaiah Johnson or Kentrell Bryce off this roster. And then John Battle, I love me some John Battle. I want him to be on our practice squad. I think the guy is an awesome safety. He plays with a lot of heart, and he plays with a lot of really good coverage, and I want him to be on our practice squad because that man is a good safety. But Mike Edwards, former draft pick, he's staying. Jordan Whitehead, former draft pick, he's staying. Justin Evans, former draft pick, hey, guess what? He's staying. And then finally, Darian Stewart has looked like a phenomenal free agent signing in a very short amount of time, so he is staying as well, and that's the bottom line.
Stone Cold said so.
Next, you have the cornerback position. Again, this one wasn't too hard. I have them keeping Carlton Davis, Vernon Hargraves III, Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy Bunting, and MJ Stewart. Ryan Smith, I don't think his roster spot counts because he is suspended for the first month of the year. I honestly think they could end up cutting him anyway, which, would be fine. I still think the Buccaneers are fine at the cornerback room. Also, Mazzy Wilkins, please let this man stay on the practice squad. He deserves it. The guy's an absolute beast. And then in the case of Devontae Harris, I think it's just too deep of a cornerback room right now, although I could potentially see him coming back later on in the year if there is an injury. But obviously, Carlton Davis, Vernon Hargraves, Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy Bunting, MJ Stewart, these guys are all first, second round draft picks, okay? Literally, they're all first, second, and third round draft picks. Carlton Davis, second round pick. Hargraves, first round pick. Jamel Dean, third round pick. Sean Murphy Bunting, second round pick. MJ Stewart, second round pick. I know that Ryan Smith is a former fourth round pick in his own right, but man, come on, that's too many guys, okay? That's too many guys unless you want to carry 6 cornerbacks. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to carry 5, and it's all high tier draft picks. You can't, this one's just a pretty easy call in my opinion. I think the Buccaneers are going to do very good. I think that a guy like Mazzy Wilkins should be on the Buccaneers practice squad if he makes it. Please, Lord Mazzy, don't sign him with another team. And I think we're going to be in a very good spot in our secondary. Finally, special teams. This one's easy. You got Bradley Pinion, the punter, Matt Gay, the kicker, and Zach Triner, the long snapper. This one is pretty darn easy in my opinion. I know you could also make the case of Bobo Wilson being a returner, and that increases his value, but this one wasn't too hard. 3 special teams players. And with that, guys, we have our final 53-man roster. If you want to go back and look through all the positions, be very glad to do so. But yeah, guys, there you have it. There was a lot of tough decisions here, especially at the backup offensive line, defensive line, interior linebacker, literally, backup wide receiver. There was some tough decisions to make here because of how good certain positions of depth have looked for the Buccaneers so far up to this point. But ultimately, this is probably what I would consider my best guess of who I think is going to make the initial 53-man Bucs roster. Literally like 2 hours later after the results are given or whatever, this could change, especially at the backup offensive line. That's almost a guarantee at this point. But you know what? Yeah, all things considered, I'm happy with this list. Give me your lists down in the comment section below, guys. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. I want to see who you guys think is and is not going to make this roster. Please let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed. But until the next video or the next live stream, I'll see you in the next one. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now. And, oops, sorry. Go Bucs!